So today we're starting with chapter 14. Three modes of material nature. Okay. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuya Pravakshami Gnananam Gnanam Uttamam Yajnatva Munaya Sarve Param Siddhim Mito Gataha. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. So by knowing this knowledge about the three modes, one can attain the supreme perfection. We will understand why in course of time. From the 7th chapter to the end of the 12th chapter, Sri Krishna in detail reveals the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now the Lord himself is further enlightening Arjuna. If one understands this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service. So any gnani who tries to understand this knowledge of the three modes by his philosophical speculation process, he will come to an understanding of devotional service, which means that even by the process of speculation, one can come to devotional service by reading this chapter. Now we'll slowly understand what that means. In the 13th chapter, it was clearly explained that by humbly developing knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material entanglement. Humbly developing knowledge. It has also been explained that it is due to association with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Now in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. The knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to the knowledge given so far in other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attained perfection and transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. This knowledge is far, far superior to all other processes of knowledge thus far explained, and knowing this, many attain perfection. Thus, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. In 13th chapter, it was explained that by humbly developing knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material entanglement. And that is because when we humbly develop knowledge, meaning we are not arrogant about our possessing knowledge. And when we possess knowledge, we come to understand that, okay, this whole, so there is no point in getting entangled here. So let's get out of here. So that is the result of gnana, right? Now, by understanding this knowledge of the modes, one can achieve perfection and transfer to the spiritual world. Now, why is that? Why is it that Prabhupada is saying that this knowledge is far superior to any other knowledge, to all process of knowledge thus far explained? And that is because we are bound in these three modes. So now while process of bhakti is superior, far, far superior, but the modes are so strong that one might not want to come to bhakti. Bhakti is very powerful. Person should still want to accept the process of bhakti. How will that person come to that stage? By understanding our position in this material world, how we are so helplessly held by the three modes, one can come to the stage of accepting devotional service. So that is why this knowledge is far, far superior. while I mean, this is when we consider knowledge to be important. Now, there are so many people who are not gnanis, not knowledge seekers, and they are just humble, sincere souls who directly take up bhakti and achieve perfection. This is for people who want knowledge. Compared to all other process of knowledge, this is the most powerful because it will take us directly to devotional service. That is the whole idea. Okay. Idam gnanam upashritya mama sadharmyamagataha sarge pinopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. After acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with the Supreme Person of Godhead, becoming free from the repetition of birth and death. Perfect transcendental knowledge. Why this is called perfect transcendental knowledge? Because it shows that we are transcendental to these three modes. The chapter describes the three modes, and then we get an understanding, oh, I am superior to this. I am above all this. So then we become free from repetition of birth and death, mukti. One does not, however, lose his identity as an individual soul. It is understood from Vedic literature that the liberated souls who reach the transcendental planets of the spiritual sky always look at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged in his transcendental loving service. So, which means that we don't just lose our identity. We are here. The Lord is there. Lord's lotus feet are there. And the liberated souls there are looking at the lotus feet all the time. So, even after liberation, the devotees do not lose their individual identities. Generally, in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Knowledge which is not contaminated by the modes is called transcendental knowledge. As soon as one is situated in the transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform of the Supreme Person. Those who have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being freed from the material activities, this spiritual identity becomes formless without any variegatedness. However, just as there is material variegatedness in the world, the spiritual world also there is variegatedness. Those in ignorance of this think that spiritual existence is opposed to material variety. That means spiritual existence is opposed to material variety means that there is no variety there. But actually in the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form, there are spiritual activities, and that spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities. One who thus develops the spiritual qualities is not affected by either the creation or destruction. In the spiritual atmosphere, one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord, that we know. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities, which means that basically we should transcend the modes. When we transcend the modes, we are situated on the transcendental platform, then we develop transcendental qualities. And then we are not affected by this creation and destruction because we are liberated. Okay, anyway, the translation is clear. Purport is a little bit not straightforward. So the idea is we have to be fixed in this knowledge of the modes. Then one can actually transcend these modes and attain nature similar to the Lord's. This is the crux.
So in the last verse, Prabhupada writes, right, that whoever understands this chapter, it is like, because this is greater than what is being told in other chapters, right? So like that, Prabhupada speaks about various things in various phases, right? So some places he says that, just by doing the hearing, one can achieve full perfection. In another place, he says that just chanting the holy name is the best of all. So, I mean, in the material world, one thing which is best, that only will be best, right? And other things will be qualitatively at a lower stage. So, is it just because it is a transcendental platform, so even multiple things can be simultaneously at the highest platform. So it means that everything or anything which is leading us to remember Lord Krishna, it is actually at the same level. Is that the right understanding? Because a person might get confused, right? Which is the best process? And because Prabhupada says best about each of the things in various places, right? How to understand this?
Yeah. So when I I came into Krishna consciousness first, I thought, okay, I should, okay, I want to worship Radha and Krishna. Then somebody said, no, first we have to worship Acharyas. Okay, you have to first worship Prabhupada. Then somebody said, okay, you also have to worship previous Acharyas. And somebody said, okay, you have to worship Panchatattva. Then somebody said something else. And then there were so many people that we have to worship. Then I was thinking, okay, whom should I worship? Should I worship one or should I worship all or what is this? So just like that everything is all worship is important because each worship gives you something else, something different, right? Now which all together will add up to us ending up serving Radha and Krishna. So when Prabhupada is saying this is best, that is best, etc. First we should understand that okay, all of this is best because Prabhupada is saying it is best. Now we have to understand in what way it is best. But we know that it is best. Yes, it is best. So for somebody who likes hearing, hearing is the best. Somebody who likes chanting, chanting is the best. Somebody who seeks philosophical knowledge, gnana is the best. So it just depends on our propensities, but each of them are equally powerful enough to take us to perfection. That is why bhakti is very personal. Each of us is an individual entity. Each of us have our own approach, own thought process, etc., etc. Now we are trying to align that with Shastra, and all of us have a space in the sense that we have freedom to adopt that mode of service which appeals to us the most. So, for example, if you ask who is your favorite, I mean, which form do you want to worship? Uh, which form do you like the most? Each devotee will say a different thing. Okay, let's try to make. Normally, this group is very silent, so we'll try to make them speak. Each of you tell which form of the Lord you like the most. Oh, I can't unmute and make you all speak, so you'll have to speak. Yes, Nagaraj.
Prabhuji, Krishna,
Okay.
Radha.
Radha Krishna for Nagaraj Prabhu. Okay. Arnath Prabhu.
Radha Madhav.
Radha Madhav. Okay. Madhurya Mataji, Radha Madhav. What about others?
Krishna grazing cows.
Krishna grazing cows. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. More responses on chat. Veera Prabhu Vishnu. Uchira Mataji, Radha Madhav.
Prabhu, earlier it was Tirupati Balaji, now it is Krishna.
Okay. Now it is Krishna. Okay. What about others? Soumya Mataji. Soumya Mataji, Radha Krishna. Surya Vamshi is this Madhusmita Mataji? Okay. Gaurnitai. Wow. Okay. See, everybody is, there are others who want to serve Narsimhadev. So each of us have our own desire, liking, like my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj was saying in some conversation with another disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Mathura Prabhu. So he was saying that his desire is that he likes all Krishna's avatars. He likes Vaman Dev, he likes Radha Krishna, he likes Rama. So you're saying, I don't know, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that we should like one form for Radha Krishna, but I seem to like everybody. And then he said, I also want to be at least once, even if I have to wait for millions of lifetimes, I want to see once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's golden form. So like this, like all of us have our own connections, our heart, our desires are different. So our paths will also be slightly different. So for example, if I ask now amongst all of you, right, like what is your most amongst Navavidha Bhakti? Which anga do you like the most or appeals to you the most?
Shravanam.
Shravanam. Okay. Kindly participate. Others?
Prabhuji, Navavidha Bhakti means?
Navavidha Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedam. So there are 9 ways in which we can do bhakti to Krishna. We can engage in one or all the modes. Shravanam is hearing, Kirtanam is glorifying. So like that. Pada Sevanam is serving, Archanam is doing worship. So what appeals to you the most?
Serving and
Serving. Okay.
worshipping.
Yeah, serving and worshipping. Okay.
Shravanam Kirtanam, both.
Okay. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, and Pada Sevanam. Okay. That's okay. We can like more than one. Okay. What about others? Quickly.
Prabhu, hearing and Sankirtan.
Okay. Madhurya Mataji, Atmanivedanam, Madhusmita Mataji, Shravanam, Veera, Shravanam, Soumya Mataji, Shravanam, Pada Sevanam.
Prabhuji, Shravanam and Smaranam also.
Smaranam. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So we can see, right? Like for each of us, Shravanam. Okay, so for each of us, we have our own path. So each of these have to be able to give us perfection. So everything is best. Somebody like that is why we have examples of different devotees who achieved perfection by different of these 9 angas, right? And Ambarish Maharaja, all the 9 angas. So everything is best. We should understand that there is nothing higher or lower in this. There is no high or low. This is better. This is not that better. It's not like that. For example, even amongst the rasas, Hanuman likes to serve Rama, and he is in the dasya bhav. Now you give him anything in the world, he is not going to change his rasa. Not going to change his bhava. He's not going to worship Radha Krishna. He's not going to worship Vishnu. So like this, that is why we say we have a Siddha Swarup, but we will not realize that what our actual position of service to the Lord is. So each of them, because each of us are so unique, so different processes can become more dear to us, but any of them we can achieve perfection. They're all equally powerful. Okay, so dramatic answer to a simple question. Little bit trying to make all of, otherwise there won't be any conversation. Here also, like so many devotees are not able to speak up and more engaged in chat. I don't know. I'm assuming that you have constraints at home or something like that. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. So did I answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu. So my question was, Prabhu, that if let's say we like one particular anga very much, can we increase the quantity of that anga over others while we don't get opportunity to work on all the angas? So, for example, we might not get opportunity to maybe do service like in temple or some things because we are maybe little
Okay,
more
that
busy,
way.
right? So
Okay.
can we have only Shravanam and Kirtanam?
Okay,
Will
okay,
that
that's
suffice?
good question. Okay, good question. Now I got your point. So let me answer this in a slightly different way. See, we have to understand whether it is our liking for a particular anga or dislike for some other anga. Okay, which all of this then will come on a material platform. So let me explain a bit. So previously, initially, right, like when I came to Krishna consciousness, I didn't want to do Kirtanam. I wanted to just do Shravanam. And I said, do Kirtanam, no, I can't speak. So I said, I don't want to do. Now this, then, if I say, okay, let me then engage only in Shravanam because Kirtanam is difficult for me, then that's not really, it's wrong, right? Because we are just using our, lack of willingness to serve in a particular anga, and then you just saying, okay, no, because I like Shravanam, I'm going to increase Shravanam. Actually, what should happen? Like, see what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said, whatever it takes. While we will have our propensities to do to different specific angas, right? But it cannot be at a complete elimination or rejection of another anga. It cannot be at a rejection. It can't be say, no, I am never going to do seva, right? Or, but it can be relatively lesser. But if required, for example, okay, situation demands that we just have to engage in cooking, then maybe we've never done that, but we will have to do it then. Then there's no question of choice. Then it's not about no. See, actually, among these different services, I like Shravanam, but cooking, not to my liking. Doesn't matter. You're not like voluntarily you're not going and saying I want to do cooking, but situation requires that the program has to happen on an ongoing basis. Cooking has to be done. Engage in cooking. So when it comes to Krishna consciousness, preaching Krishna consciousness, we should be ready to do whatever it takes. But in our own sadhana, in where we want to focus more, sure, like even in Shravanam, for example, some people, some want to, like deep dive into Bhagavad Gita, some want to deep dive into Bhagavatam, some want to deep dive into songs by previous acharyas. So there might be even more selections there in terms of preferences there, like I want to do this only, which is also fine, but not at the rejection of something else. Not like, okay, because I like Bhagavatam, I'm not going to read Bhagavad Gita at all, or I've read Bhagavad Gita once and I'll not touch it again. Not like this. Preferences can be there, but it has to be very clearly understood, discussed with senior devotees, and it should be balanced in such a way that, okay, another way of answering is there are two kinds of service. One is Manasika Seva and then gross and subtle. Both have to engage in service. If somebody is only Shravanam Kirtanam types, then they're only mental. But they also require physical. Body also has to be engaged in service because we have to engage body, mind, everything in gross and subtle in Krishna's service. So if we limit ourselves to only subtle and not engage gross, then that's also incomplete. Well, there are multiple considerations, but preference to one versus the other is absolutely fine.
Yes, bro.
Okay. 14.3. Mama yonir brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhavah sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth. And it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings. So the total material substance, Mahat Tattva, is Brahman. Okay, so it's not material. Okay, so it is spiritual only, which is playing the role of material, which is taking on a role to create this material energies, material universe. So it becomes called material substance. But it is Brahman. And Brahman is the source of birth. And the Lord, by his just glancing over material nature, we say, material nature is Brahman. So Lord impregnates Brahman. So that is why Brahman is the basis for this whole material creation. Brahman Jyoti is the basis. This is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to a combination of Kshetra and Kshetragna, body and spiritual soul. This combination of material nature and living entity is made possible by the Supreme God Himself. The Mahat Tattva is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation. Total cause means it all starts with Mahat Tattva. And that total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes. So the three modes of material nature are present in Mahat Tattva. And this Mahat Tattva is called Brahman. Supreme Personality impregnates that Mahat Tattva, and thus innumerable universes become possible. This Mahat Tattva is described as Brahman. Tasmad etat Brahmanama Rupam Annam cha Jayate. Supreme Person impregnates that Brahman with the seeds of living entities. The 24 elements, beginning with earth, water, fire, air, ether, material energy, they are all material energy, and they constitute what is called as Mahat Brahma, or the great Brahman, the material nature. Explained in the 7th chapter. Beyond this, there is another superior nature, living entity. Into material nature, the superior nature is mixed, which is the impregnation business. It is mixed by the will of the Supreme Person of Godhead, and therefore all living entities are born of this material nature. So, which is nice. See, nicely explained, Prabhupada. So, this superior nature is Atma, Jiva, but it is mixed with material nature. It is like you can imagine, you mix, you put something, you put like, I don't know, in South India it's very easy to explain, dal into rice, you mix, which means that it becomes like one substance. So like living entities then become part of this material nature, as in they are born of this material nature. So they get the qualities of this material nature because they are mixed. So that is why it is so difficult to disconnect ourselves from this material nature, because we are just, it's part of us in that sense, because we are born of this nature. The scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice, but the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause for birth. The seed is given by Supreme Lord, and they only seem to come out as products of material nature. As every living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body created by this material nature, so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. The Lord is the cause of all manifestations of living entities in this material world. So the total material substance, Mahatva, is Brahman, and the Lord impregnates Brahman, and thereby living entities come into existence, take birth with a material body. All this is done possible because of Brahman and because of the Supreme Lord. And what is Brahman? Brahman is a Brahma Jyoti. So in one part of the spiritual sky, this Brahma Jyoti is covered by this Mahat Tattva cloud. But that is also Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman.
Bro,
Okay.
is this Brahman is same as Super Soul?
No. Super Soul. No. Okay. Super Soul is not called Brahman. Super Soul is called Paramatma.
Yeah, but all pervading nature of Super Soul is same as Brahma Jyoti, right?
No, because the all pervading nature of Super Soul is not present in the spiritual world. Super soul is present only in the material world. Brahman is present everywhere.
But even
Material
in
and
spiritual
spiritual.
world, it is said that the illumination is because of Brahma Jyoti, right?
Brahma Jyoti is there everywhere in spiritual and material world, but Paramatma is not there in the spiritual world.
Okay, so basically Brahma Jyoti is one level above than Super Soul. Then it's like
No. There are no levels here. Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence coming from the body of the Lord. Brahma Jyoti is the basis for material creation. And that is one energy of the Lord working in one particular fashion. Now, but even if a material world is created, somebody has to be there to run it. And for that, there is Karnoda Kashai, Garbhoda Kashai, Kshiroda Kashai. So, no, these are all, that's why I said, like all of there is nothing one more important than the other. If Brahma Jyoti is not there, then there's nothing, as in there's no spiritual world, there's no material world. Even if there's a material world, if Paramatma is not there, then there is no possible of existence, living entities existing in this material world. So everybody is important, everybody is coming from the Lord, but each of them have different roles to play. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll stop here. Is everybody reading Bhagavad Gita on a daily basis? Are you having any questions, doubts? If so, you can put them on the group. The whole idea of this reading session was to motivate you to read, go deeper into Srila Prabhupada's books. Okay. Okay. So it's 9 o'clock, so we'll stop. We'll continue Krishna on Friday. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Putti. He is hearing Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರು
ಅವಳೇ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದಿನ ಆದ್ರೆ
ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫುಲ್ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಅವಳಿಗೆ.
ಅಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಕ್ತರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸೂಪರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಜೈ ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Hare Krishna.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ. ಓಕೆ.